Hey everybody, this is JD Legree again. Um, I am recording from my built-in web camera on my laptop, so if you hear that ever-present humming sound, I think it's either the computer or something, but that's what that is. So, as I said in the earlier video, I was going to do a separate video about Madden 13. Now, this may go a little while because I want to give a very detailed and logical explanation of the way I feel about it. First things first, I played the demo when it came out. I played with the Giants when it came out. And to be honest, I didn't like it. The presentation looked good. I didn't have an issue with the presentation. I didn't have an issue with the commentating. What I had an issue with was that the fact I had no defense whatsoever. Now, I hadn't bought Madden since the Madden 10 version came out. I returned that. So it is possible that I just not as good as I used to be, because those who played against me when I was growing up, they tell you I used to be legit in Madden. I wasn't unbeatable, but I was just a wizard when it came to passing. My bread and butter, if you will, was the play action. Because you see, I came up with Madden from back in the PlayStation 1 days, from Madden 98. So I took time getting good, and I really started getting good around when Madden 05 came out. That's when I started getting good, really good. No, sorry, that's segueing a little bit. That comes a little bit later. All right. I need to talk about the demo first. So, I pop in the demo. I like the presentation. I like the commentating. But not only do I not have any defense, as I mentioned earlier, I was getting sacked every single time I dropped back. Now, mind you, I'm playing on all Madden. See, that's what us Madden vets do. We don't fuck around with Pro or All Pro. You fuck around with all Madden because you can't really consider yourself a gamer, at least for sports games. There are some games where you don't want to play on the hardest level, like Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3, if you even playing it on hard, it's tough. I couldn't even imagine trying to play it on the hardest level possible. But for Madden, for games like Madden, you play on the hardest difficulty because now this might be a lingering conditioning that's no longer true, but coming up, we were taught that was the most realistic experience you can get, because the computer doesn't hold your hand and it doesn't limit itself. It comes at you as hard as possible. And so I'm getting sacked every single time I drop back. And it's always the same thing, up the middle. Now, because the fucking demo doesn't allow you to do replays manually, I wasn't able to tell if it was blitzes or just people getting bull rushed up the middle. But thankfully they had the sliders. And so when I went into the sliders, I saw that everything was at 25. Everything. So I was like, okay, well, let me turn it up to 50. Like that's where it usually is when the game comes out, at 50. So I was like, let me put it halfway. That's the difference. Instead of being hit every play, I got hit every other play. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not bullshit. Maybe I'm just calling plays that are taking longer to develop. You know, it always could be that. You know? It's not always BS. It's not always BS for a reason that you can't do something. It's not always a computer bullshit. So I'm like, okay, alright. But I also started noticing that my receivers wasn't getting open. The only person I could throw to was either the running backs or the tight ends. The only way my receivers would get open is doing that the button hook type of route. Any other route, they would not get open. Now I'm like, the New York Giants wide receivers aren't the Eagles receivers when James Thrash and Fred X was there. These guys are good. The fact that they couldn't get open not one time, not short, not middle, not long, and they were always getting press coverage. You see, that's how the Madden game cheeses. Okay, it press coverages your receivers, so it makes the play take longer, and then your interior lineman can't block worth the shit, and you're sacked. So I saw that too, and I saw that in older Maddens on this generation of gaming. I want to specify this generation of consoles. And so I'm still playing, and then I start seeing the dropped catches. Now mind you, I'm user catching, and I'm seeing drop after drop after drop. And so I'm trying to stay patient. I'm like, you know, the Giants wide receivers do drop passes in real life, so this could be realistic. But then I started thinking, I was like, wait a second. Even though that is true, that in real life drops, not just with the Giants, but drops overall have increased. Because these fucking wide receivers nowadays aren't as fundamentally sound as they used to be. You know, they all think that wearing those gloves, they think wearing those gloves turns their hands into super glue, but it doesn't. There you go, that's better. But anyway, besides that, I'm playing the game. I'm controlling the guy catching it. If anything, the catching ability should increase. Because I'm telling the guy, okay, be ready. Put your hands up. Speaking of, you know that, you should hear my dad go in on these receivers nowadays. He used to play in high school. And from what I can tell, he was pretty good. He used to play both sides of the ball. But he hates it when he sees a receiver go like this to catch the ball. He's like, these motherfuckers, only reason why they do that is because they want to look cool. They just he was, so you can just snatch it out of the air. But like, these jackasses don't understand that when you do that, you make your hands tough, harder, not softer, harder, because you're putting pressure in your hands and fingers instead of going like this. Instead of going like this. Instead of going like that. Why? Because like if you catch like this, you can cup the ball into your hands. Instead of having to put the force to stop it, you can cup the ball into your hands. So I'm seeing drop after drop after drop after drop. And there's this one where anybody who's played Madden probably knows this type of drop, where it's a crucial third down. It was a crucial third down. And again, once again, the receivers don't get open. But I have my tight end doing a up and it's not a slant per se. A pulse, a tight end pulse. He's doing a tight end pulse move. And so over the middle. And so he gets open, and he gets past the down marker, and I throw it to him. Not only does he not catch the ball, it was one of those where it's like he backed it down. You know, anybody who's played Madden has seen that type of animation where they go to catch it, but like that. They don't, or they did that to it. When I saw that, on top of getting sacked every time, on top of receivers not getting open, on top of not having defense, I was like, I'm fucking done. So then I wanted to be fair and play it again. No difference, except that I scored a touchdown this time. Same getting hit time in and time in and time and again up the middle. Same inability to run. Motherfuckers not getting open on offense. Defense was a little better though. I will say that. My defense was a little bit better. I didn't get any I don't think I got any turnover. Yes, I did. I did get one. Or did I? I don't remember. I don't remember, but I didn't let him score as easily as before. So that let me know that if I had kept playing either the demo or game in real life, I could get back to being adequate on defense. But I wasn't impressed with the gameplay. I really wasn't. And so I wasn't going to get. I'm set up. No, I'm not going to get the game. Now, to give you some background on how I feel about Madden overall, I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier. I started playing Madden in the 98 version. So that goes down to 97. Alright, I played 98. I then got 2000, 2001, 2002, 03, 04, 05, and 06. So that's 7 editions in a row that I got. Alright. Now in those years, so that's 99. That's 99 through 2006. Yeah, no, 2005. Yes, because I didn't buy the 07 version, and that came out in 06. So from 99 to 2005, I was, just playing Madden over and over and over again. Alright. So that means I was there for it when Madden changed from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. And when it changed from PS2 to PS3. Now, I never played the 2K when it was out. So I can't compare it to that. Even though my cousin swears up and down it was better than Madden. I can only tell you how I used to feel about Madden. I used to love Madden. My mode was the franchise mode. That was the best part of Madden. Take over your franchise. You're the owner. You set the prices, or the ticket prices, parking, concessions, sign, trade, all of that. And you build your team to a powerhouse. And no Madden did this better than 2005 Madden. If you go into forums, if you go into reviews, across the board, the Madden veterans say that Madden 05 was the best Madden that came out. Why is this? Because the franchise mode was deep. It was like you took the role of 3 different roles on your franchise. You was the owner, you was the coach, and then you were the I don't want to say you was the individual players, But you could be like the you could say their position coaches. Yeah, that makes sense. They're position coaches. Now, Madden decided to be smart this time. And again, this is going to be a long video, so I might as well take my time. But Madden in this edition, like I think the one beforehand as well, has something called the minicamps. What this did was, for each of the positions of your team, for each difficulty, rookie, all-pro, rookie, pro, all-pro, all-Madden, and in the regular game modes, you could do these drills to unlock Madden cards and stuff. Well, when you're in the franchise mode, it's the same thing there. What you do is you take your first-string quarterback, and you're like, okay. Now, the only thing about that I didn't like is that you only pick the person once. Like the quarterback had two different drills. He had the pocket presence, and also the running the offense. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I think that started in 03. Yeah, that's right. It started in Madden 03, the minicamp things. But in 05, it was still there. And so what you would do is you would take your the person that you wanted to improve his stats, and you would go through the thing. Now, unfortunately, in the franchise part, you only had one chance to get it right. To get the score you needed, to get the gold. But the point was, you're having your guys go through the drills, not only in minicamp, and not only in preseason, but during season 2. Because it would reset. You would have your punter do his drills, have your kicker do his drills, have your running back do his drills, all that for the preseason, and then you would do the same thing in the regular season. It would reset after like a certain amount of weeks, and then you can do it again. So not only are you increasing your team, your players' abilities by going through these camps, if your level of playing with them in the actual game mode was good, you would see their stats improve. So, case in point, I was a Titans fan, so Steve McNair was still playing. At the time, beginning of the franchise mode, he had that normal vision cone. Which, by the way, I don't see why Madden took that out. I'm glad Madden put that in, because too many times people were looking this way and throwing this way and stuff. A lot of people bitched about it because they didn't know how to complete passes. The trick for that was, if you didn't have a wide field of vision guy, the trick for that was to keep it in the middle. And then, because I was quick, so I didn't have to, I forget how you had to do it to to get him to do that and stuff, but I wasn't doing that a lot and forcing myself to get sacked. I knew where I was going to go throw it to, so I just keep it in the middle, and then when I saw the guy who I was going to throw it to was open, I just threw it to him. But anyway, besides that, I was able to get my Steve McNair's vision cone to Peyton Manning like. So I loved it. I loved that game. They had the national newspapers, they had the radio show, they had just a deep mode. Alright. And then the PlayStation and Xbox, PS3 and the Xbox 360 came out. And I didn't buy 07, so I can't. I did buy 06. Alright. I did buy the 06 version for the PS2. And this was after they got the merger. I mean the exclusivity. It wasn't as good as Madden 05, but it was still solid. I didn't buy 07, but I bought Madden 08 on the PS3 because I bought it in 07. That was the worst Madden ever done. It was always raining or cloudy. It was the player running, how the players looked when they ran was just cartoonish. All hunched over. Everybody looked the same size. And the commentating, oh my god. They went from having it be a normal broadcast to having it sound like the home team's local radio guy talking. So you got no in-depth, explanations. You got no, national coverage or nothing. Like no national impact. You didn't get any like Steve McNair is approaching 30,000 yards passing for his career. None of that shit. And then the lag for that, oh my god. The lag for that game online was fucking horrible. Now keep in mind, PlayStation 3 was the first system I ever got that I connected to the internet. I had the PS2, and I knew it could connect to the internet, but my parents' computers were too far away for me to do the Ethernet thing, so I just played offline. As those old school vets did. If we wanted to play somebody, we had to go over to their house, or they had to come over to my house, and we played. Madden 08 left a bad taste in my mouth. A bad taste in my mouth. Very bad taste in my mouth. So 09 came out. And this one was a definite step in the right direction. Graphics were better. Commentating was better. But I had noticed something. I had noticed that my deep ball wasn't there. And I had noticed that going back to the 06 version. In 06 I could still do it. It just wasn't as easy as before. Because as I said earlier in this video, the play action was my better bread and butter. So even though my run would get stuffed quite often actually, I would still run enough for you to have to respect the fact that I wouldn't run the ball. But I always looked for either one of those safeties, either the strong or the free, to come up. If I saw that, I automatically did the hot route straight. Not the one where not the flying route, but the one where you go. That one. That used to get people every time. Every time. And remember, I was playing with Steve McNair, and Steve McNair had a big enough arm where he could make any throw. So I mean, you should see how many times. I wish YouTube was there back then, because I lost count how many touchdowns I got against people, the computer and real people. But in 09, I noticed something. I was like, the deep ball mechanic was really sucky. And it wasn't just because I was playing with Vince Young. I noticed this with other quarterbacks. Like because in 09, I think they still had the weapons. So I would play with Big Ben, and Big Ben's weapon was his big arm. So when I went deep, here's what I noticed every time. I noticed that the quarterback was backpedaling, but he was keeping up with the wide receiver. So I'm like, wait a second. So you mean to tell me that my wide receiver is running full out, or I should say, as full out as the game will allow it? his defender is backpedaling, but he's keeping up with a guy who's running forward. Get the fuck out of here. So not only that, the ball would never be thrown in a way where the receiver could make a play in the ball. Not unless you took control of him and you had to run him around the defender and then go up for it. Never was it thrown in a way where it could go like this into the receiver's hands. It was never that. Alright. And it was even worse with PlayStation 2. It was even worse. I shit you not. I would play with the Colts or the Giants. Every time I went deep, it would be like this. If I went deep into the left, it was overthrown out of bounds. If I went deep to the right, it would be underthrown and intercepted. Every time. Now I'm playing with the Mannings, okay? I'm playing with, two of the best arms in the league. And you mean to tell me that every time I go deep, it's overthrown out of bounds to their left and underthrown and intercepted to the right every time? Get the fuck out of here. That's when I started turning against Madden. Because both the PS2 and the PS3 versions have bull fucking shit. Alright. But again, as I said, Madden 09 was a step in the right direction. They brought back the weapons. They brought back the camps. Wasn't as good as the ones from the 05, but they brought back the drills to make them better. They even had a step in the right direction with the Madden IQ. But see, the thing is with that, you would get penalized for your guys dropping the ball in that Madden IQ thing. So you get docked a point or whatever because your fucker decided to drop the ball in that little simulation environment, even though you're user catching. He decides to drop the ball, but you get penalized for that. But anyway, 09 was playable for me. Then Madden 10 came out, and Madden 10 soured me on Madden. Period. I couldn't even get past the first quarter of my franchise mode. Again, I'm playing with the Titans. Why? Because every drive was an interception. Now, Vince Young was not, the type of quarterback who would not throw picks, but he wasn't that bad. Before all that fuckery with Jeff Fisher happened, Vince Young was a Pro Bowl quarterback. He was Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year for a fucking reason. Every fucking drive was in an interception or a fumble. Every one. And then mind you, I'm playing on all Madden. So not only every time I'm on offense is a turnover, every time I'm on defense, I'm getting scored on. And we're talking preseason game. And what gets me is when you play on all Madden, it fucking says under the all Madden setting, your opponent is nearly unstoppable. Now what the fuck kind of shit is that? How the fuck do you release a game where on the highest difficulty, a sport game, you fucking blatantly tell your players, if you play on this hardest level, you can't do shit. No matter what you do with the settings, no matter what you do with the sliders, you cannot do shit. And then the next year, 11, they brought that damn strategy pad out. Now I'm like, what the? I just couldn't believe it. I was like, who the fuck asked for the strategy pad? Before then, if you wanted to make a change, the easiest one was 05s. L1 for the D-line, R1 for the linebackers, triangle and up, down, left, right for the D-backs. That was the best. in '09, you could do, the individual defensive changes. You would, tap the thing over to the guy, hit the X button, change some shit, either, like that. Or you can hit the triangle button and go right into, or if you're on offense, hit the triangle button, do the hot routes, or you can control away from the quarterback and do stuff. But these motherfuckers decided, you know what? We're gonna add an extra step to do all of that. So instead of just being able, in the past, to hit triangle and then do your button wide receiver hot routes, you would have to hit the up button first, just to be able to hit the triangle to do that shit. And so, we fast forward to Madden 13. Now, I had hoped that Madden 13 would be better. But when they started talking this total control passing bullshit, I was like, wait a second. I was like, why are you touting this thing as if it's new? Madden 05, you could do that shit. Madden 05, you could do bullet passes. You could do lob passes. You could do up and left, and then an icon, and he would throw it up and to the left. Up and to the left. Back and to the right. Back and to the left. I'm sorry. But, so it would be, receiver would be catching over here. Or you could down and left. So it would be more toward the ground. Or leading your receiver. You used to be able to do that. But now these fuckers are telling you, oh, we got 400 different types of throwing animations now, and you can lead your receivers like you used to be able to in the fucking older versions of Madden. But how's that new? How's that new? That you used to be able to do something several editions ago. Now all of a sudden, you're reintroducing it, and it's new? And then the shit they did with connected careers. I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be a player. I want my Madden 05 franchise mode back. What does that mean? That means being the owner, controlling the prices, hiring and firing coaches, having my players go through the drills so they're better, controlling my team and playing them in such a way that they increase their fucking stats. Alright? And possibly be able to take that team into the offline mode. Or I should say, the play now mode. Possibly. Or I should say, being able to do the same thing in your play now mode. There we go. Be able to do the same thing for your team in the play now mode. You have them go through the drills and shit, so that way they're better than they would be release date. And so, the biggest reason why I'm upset about Madden this year is not the fact that I wasn't impressed by the gameplay. I was really hoping, because there have been losses for Madden. It hadn't been selling as well as it used to. It still sold well, but you still notice losses. I was like, you know what? With all the complaining I see, hopefully, just maybe, I may see a drop off in total sales. So that way, they'll get the fucking point that we're tired of them focusing on things that us hardcore Madden players never gave a shit about. I never gave a shit about online leagues. I never gave a shit. I don't have 32 friends. What the fuck do I want with an online league? I don't have 32 friends. Nobody has 32 friends. Not friends. You may have 32 friends, associates, and acquaintances, but not friends. I don't give a fuck about fantasy draft. I don't give a fuck about that shit. All I care about is being able to go into the franchise mode and dominate, or suck, but have total control. But what happened? Madden came out, and do you know that 900,000 copies were sold in the first 24 hours? And so I just had to do the young Raven-Symoné face palm when I saw that. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Now keep this in mind. Madden from 08 through last year's, so that's 4 editions, was an 8 on IGN. Compared to Madden 05, which was a 9.5 on the same website. Madden 05 was a 9.5. Madden 08 through 12 was an 8. So that means by its own criteria, the games of the Madden's on this console generation are subpar in quality to the Madden, the last one before the exclusive, and the switch into the newer consoles. And so you mean to tell me that people love Madden so much that they are these fuckers were waiting outside GameStop and places to get Madden. I'm like, dude, this is Madden. For all the criticisms about what it is and what it's not, it's a popular game. You're gonna find a copy of the fucking shit new no matter where you go. No matter when you go. It's not like they only release 1 million copies, period. And you gotta be one of those million. Motherfuckers are waiting outside to get Madden? Why? I can see when it was Assassin's Creed 3. I can see, I can see not being in a hurry to play that game. I can see that, but it's Madden. You played Madden before, or you played football in real life before. You know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get some improvements, but overall, the shit is gonna feel like the last year's. Some new issues are gonna come up. I'm sorry, but that 900,000 really got to me, because EA has effectively ran into the ground their basketball, their football, and their boxing games. Live, Madden, and Fight Night. Each one of those used to be upper echelon titles. Live up through I want to say they were off for a while, but the last good one was 10. Was NBA Live 10. And even that had its issues. But it was still a good game. Madden was great through the 06 iteration at the latest. Fight Night was great up through round 4. These guys ran. Now when I say ran to the ground, I'll explain. Apart from Madden, they add things, take things out. they fix one thing, something else is fucked up, or they're not addressed at all. Case in point, the instant replay system. Now, this goes back to the PS2 era of long plays when you go to replay, showing starting from halfway into the play, or 3/4 of the play over. That's been a complaint since Madden 05, and it should have still like that. As far as live is concerned, it got unrealistic. As far as like I used to play 12-minute quarters, so I would be seeing scores of like 160 to 148. I'm like, that's not. Back in the 80s, it used to be that high scoring. 70s and 80s used to be that high scoring. I forget why. Oh, not 160, 148, but a lot of the games used to get into the 130s. You know, not as much defense was played back then in the 70s and 80s, but games used to be that high scoring. But now, mostly games are in the 90s to the hundreds range. Every once in a while, a team will get 120, but more than likely, you're not going to see a team score more than 108 points. So I stopped playing the live after the 06 version because of that. I went and got Live 10. I like the game. You know, the 12-minute scoring was good, and so was any other increment of scoring. Any other increment of scoring seemed legit. Like me and my main rival, we do 6-minute quarters when we're playing each other online, and the scores are about half of what you would expect for 12 minutes. So I'm like, okay, but the animations, I'll have to do another video about some of the bullshit NBA Live did, but overall it was a good game. To me, by far, Fight Night was their best series. It was their best series. They had, going back to Knockout Kings, you know, they had, you know, a large roster, you know, they had good power, good stats, good balance. But then they went and did this Fight Night shit. Fight Night Champion. And the Fight Night Champion part was a good part. It was a good game. But again, that's another video for another time. And so, as I'm drawing near the end of all I have to say about Madden, I'm really disappointed in you 900,000 motherfuckers who went and bought Madden when it came out. We have been complaining for years that Madden did not take the changes, the need to get back to how it was, seriously. If on release it was only 50,000, I guarantee you they would have said, okay, they made their point. We can't keep doing the same bullshit that we've been doing. We need to make Madden the way it was in Madden 05. Because I think anybody who played Madden 05 would tell you, if they took Madden 05, like right now, if they took Madden 05 right now and did like an HD port, like, you know, they updated the graphics and they decided to add some more things to it, you know, because there were some things in each iteration of Madden that were good, whether it be hit sticks or player weapons and stuff, or Madden IQ, and tweak some things, but basically leave the core of Madden 05 alone and re-released it now, I guarantee you it would blow away Madden 13. But think about that. 7 iterations of Madden have come along since the exclusive deal was signed. And based on the feelings that I see on the forums, only 2 of those were worthwhile. 09's and apparently from the reviews, this one, Madden 13. So you mean to me out of 7 years, only 2 were good enough to get above an 8? Because 09's got an 8.5. Yeah, 09's got an 8.5. Every other one got an 8. This one got a 9. That's sad. But it is what it is. The exclusive ends after this season. It would have ended after last season, but they had the lockout, so EA bitched them on to get an extension, so they got a year extension. So hopefully, after it ends this season, it won't get renewed. I'm not a big fan of 2K, but based on what they do with the 2K NBA game, I could see them making a dent in EA Sports. If for no other reason other than to make them realize that, you know what, we can't no longer rest on our laurels. And so, here's hoping that the exclusivity is not extended. Here's hoping that 2K is allowed to make football games again. Here's hoping that EA will finally make a game where you can replay a long replay. Here is hoping that we don't suffer decreasing quality going to the next generation as we did going from PS2 to PS3. Here's hoping. Well, this has been a very long rant. As you can see, it's getting close to 50 minutes, but I believe that's all I have to say for Madden. Tell me what you think. What are your feelings about Madden? Do you think that Madden is a great game and I'm just bugging? Or do you agree with what I've been saying, that Madden pales in comparison to what it used to be, and that it needs to kick up his ass? Do you have any ideas on how to improve it? Do any of you out there who aspire to be game makers, have tips, want to start a company or something? Drop down your thoughts. But I'll leave with this last note. Directly to the gripers who still buy Madden. You are the direct reason of why Madden was shitty for so long. Because every year, Madden, the EA would tell you, we heard the complaints, we understand what we fucked up on, we got everything fixed. It's going to be a 180 degree total difference from what you're used to. No more of the shit that you complain about. And every fucking year in August, you motherfuckers, after complaining, you would then say, I'm still going to buy it. So basically, what you're saying is, I equate it to this. Let's say you get raped by somebody, alright, and you protest like you did not want to be raped. But then you go find that rapist and you give them permission to do what they did the first time as often as they like. That's exactly how EA treats you motherfuckers that complain about Madden but still get it. You complain that it's robbing you of your $60 in America. I don't know what it is in other places, but 60 plus. You complain about that, but then come late August, here you are, standing outside of GameStop, waiting for your copy so you can play the same game you did last year, the year before that, and the year before that with a roster update. What they do? Good day for you. I hope you're proud of yourself. 900,000 buys in the first fucking day. Give me a break. That's it for now. This is JD Legree signing off. Take care.